Hello, my name is Kinsella, and today I will be talking about the 5 lobes of the brain. Just so you know, I have printed out all of these structures, but I have whited out all of the structure names. So these are the 5 lobes of the brain. We have the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the limbic lobe. First, I'll be talking about the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe starts anteriorly here at the tip of the brain and runs posteriorly here to the central central sulcus. And then this first structure right here is the prefrontal gyrus, and that the primary motor cortex is in the prefrontal gyrus, and that is responsible for initiating voluntary movement. And then medially to this, which you can't see on this diagram, but it is there, is the premotor and supplementary gyrus, and those are responsible for planning your movements. Next we have Broca's area. Broca's area is located right here, and it is responsible for written and spoken language. The rest of the frontal lobe is called the prefrontal cortex, and that is responsible for insight, foresight, and your personality. Next, we have the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe starts anteriorly here at the central sulcus again. This structure right here is called the post-central gyrus, and that is responsible for the somatosensory cortex, and it is responsible for processing tactile and proprioceptive information, which is your perception of your movement in space. Next, we have the inferior parietal lobule, which consists of the supramarginal and the angular gyrus, and those are both responsible for language comprehension. And also, the parietal lobe runs inferiorly along the lateral sulcus. Sorry if I'm holding it like I'm trying to look. All right, next we have the temporal lobe. I'll try to get closer. The temporal lobe runs superiorly along that lateral sulcus and then inferiorly just along the bottom of the brain. It is divided into 3 structures, but for this class and this video, we're only talking about one, which is the superior temporal gyrus. It has 2 main parts, one being the primary auditory cortex, which is responsible for processing auditory information, and then the second one, which isn't labeled exactly here, but it's around this area, and it is the Wernicke's area, and that is responsible for language comprehension and conversation. Next we have the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe is located in the posterior part of your brain, as you can see here. It is composed of 2 main parts, just like the temporal lobe, at least for the concept of this class and this video. So the first is the primary visual cortex, which is responsible for processing visual information, and it is bordered by the calcarine sulcus, which is right here. And then the rest of it is considered the visual association cortex, which processes the information or the visual information that you get from the primary visual cortex and organizes it into what you'll do with what you actually see. Lastly, we have the limbic system, or the limbic lobe, which is composed of 4 main structures that make up the limbic system. So first up here, we have the cingulate gyrus, which is right up here. Down here, we have the parahippocampal gyrus. Right here we have the uncus, and then this over here is the hippocampus. I don't think that there's like an actual area on this exact diagram of the hippocampus because it's like really in there, but it's there. And then all of this does make up the limbic system, and the limbic system is mainly for emotional regulation, drive-related behavior, learning, and memory. So yes, those are the 5 lobes of the brain. Thank you very much.